Hello, everybody. It is Marcy from wavesofcommunication.com coming live here on YouTube with another video for you today. And I have a kind of timely topic that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be sharing with you today 5 tips for an easy spring ahead time change. Okay. So, excuse me. Oh my goodness. That's the thing about live. All the gunk has to come out as soon as I start talking. Excuse me so much. Listen, everybody, this is a really important thing because time change affects all of us. And in turn, our kids get affected by this. Now, there's lots of things going on astrologically as well as this time change this weekend. So, if you are joining me either live or on the replay and you're interested in knowing a little bit more about the astrology and what's going on in the heavens and all of that kind of stuff, stick around after I talk about these 5 strategies about the time change and we'll dig in a little bit more on this discussion. And as always, you're welcome to ask me questions about your language facilitation journey, either the information that I post on this video or something you watched on another video or, something you've been thinking about with your late talking child. These opportunities to catch me live is your chance to get a little free help. Ask me some questions about your language facilitation journey because it's my mission to help parents everywhere use language facilitation in the best way possible for your family. Language facilitation works great for every family, but it's totally unique. In fact, all of the videos that I put on YouTube, there's more than 370 videos, by the way. Every single video has actionable strategies that you can use with your late talker to help them, meet the needs or achieve the outcomes that we talk about on that particular video. And however, you also need to understand that these are general strategies. So as you're watching, you're going to have to be thinking in your own head about how you're going to adapt these strategies to help your child in your life. So welcome to everybody who's joining me live for the first time. Hi, Liza. Thank you for joining me. And anybody who's joining me on the replay. Let's get into these strategies because this is a super cool way to facilitate a little bit more than an easy transition. Wait till you see what I've got to share with you. Okay, getting started. The first thing that we're going to talk about, the number 1 strategy, is to start your plan for the time change 2 to 3 days before the actual time change happens. And what you're going to do, I've got 5 little tips for this one. And the first thing you want to do is mark that day in your digital calendar on your phone. Every phone's got one, and usually they're marked on there. Now, I'm not telling you what the day is because in the US and Canada, it's actually happening. I'm filming this in 2020. It's going to happen this weekend on the 13th. But in the UK, it's going to happen at different times, and other places it doesn't happen at all. Maybe where you live, but you might have moved to a place where the time changes because it happens different everywhere. And then if you're in Australia, it's going to be different too. You may be swinging your clocks back versus forward if they do even change time in Australia. Anyway, the most important thing is to figure out when it's happening where you are, right? And mark that day on your calendar and then set a reminder on your calendar for an alert. So put a notification on that thing where 3 days ahead, you're going to get a notification or put one in your phone somehow. And then when you get that notification, your job is to research the sunrise and sunset times for your area over the next week. Okay, so what you do is you go to your weather app on your phone and you look to see what the sunrise and sunset times are and look at them over the next couple weeks because it's going to change by an hour real fast. And you also will notice that they're changing by minutes every single day, especially this time of year. We start to notice even minutes in the day. You can see it's 10 minutes earlier, it's 11 minutes earlier, it's 12 minutes earlier. You notice the change very frequently happening through your time. All right, let's go back to these strategies because there's one more I wanted to do. So what you need to do is you need to compare. Number 4, compare how your child's current sleeping schedule fits with those sunrise, sunset times. It's very important that you see, because your child's not going to change as fast as the time is changing, as the time is going to change overnight by a whole hour. And with the sun changing by minutes every day it's going to change. And your child's sleeping schedule doesn't necessarily change by minutes every day, or you may see that it's starting to with the light. That's this whole job, is to compare it and then review your child's current bedtime and wake up routine, which means, like I said, the current one, not what they're used to doing, not what you had in your mind, whatever. What have they been doing for the past week or two? Have they been going to bed earlier or later because they've been getting up earlier because the sun's starting to come up earlier? Okay. Maybe your schedule is very different now because you're not going out of the house. You're not getting up and going out to school. You're having your Zoom sessions and you don't have to get up and have a whole morning thing to get out the house. So you're waking up just in time to eat before your morning Zoom meeting at 8:30 or something like that. This is what you have to understand is your routine, your current routine is where you're starting right now. And if you're making a transition by losing a whole hour, it's important that you realize where you're starting from. Okay, let's get into the number 2 strategy that I have about this transition. And what you're going to do here is you're going to establish the regular morning and bedtime routines that you want. This is your opportunity. While we're looking at a massive change going to be happening by the time situation, you're going to see how you can use this as a way to get yourself and your morning and bedtime routines back on track, because like I said, they might be off track due to COVID situations or time, the light coming and going, things like that. They could be changing outside of your control, and this is how you get the control back. First of all, you decide on the outcomes that you want. Do you want teeth brushing before eating in the morning? Do you want bedtime to happen at a certain time? Do you want your child to sleep X amount of hours in the night? What is the outcome you want from your morning and routine? Do you want to not rush in the morning before your Zoom meeting? Do you want to have extra time? This is your chance to decide what plan you want to have. And then what you do is you have to demonstrate how you want that plan to achieve success. So you have to do these things with your child. You have to show your child this is a family plan, not just something that you're instilling in your child, but that you and your spouse or your partner and your other kids and everybody else that lives in your house is also established as part of these regular morning and bedtime routines, okay? And then what you do is you do these routines because you're demonstrating how to do it, and then you encourage your child to participate with you. It's time to brush our teeth. It's time to go to bed. It's time to get ready for bed. It's time to all the steps that you go to get up and all the steps you go to bed. It's important that you get this routine together because the routine's going to help your child understand. You might be making new rules and new bedtime routines, and you're trying to change what your child's been naturally doing. Like they're naturally going to bed later because they're waking up earlier, right? They're naturally waking up earlier because the sun is coming earlier. Always thank your child for staying in bed longer or doing what you're asking them to do about these bedtime routines, and then praise them for helping you achieve your desired outcomes and tell them what outcomes they helped you achieve. You stayed in bed and slept 6 whole hours. You're going to be a happy, ready to go kiddo today, right? You went to bed on time, so mom got to go to bed on time and mom got good sleep last night, right? These are the outcomes that you wanted from these morning routines. We got up early, so we got all of our things done, and now we can have a relaxed cup of tea before we go to school, or start our class. We can enjoy the process a little bit more, which is the outcome that I like from establishing my morning routines. I don't want to be hurry and rushed, so I plan to wake up earlier and go through the things I have to go through before I've got to be somewhere. I do that for myself. This is what you need to do for your kids, okay? This morning and evening routine is all in your control, okay? This is, I think, where a lot of parents feel like they lose it with this time change thing, is they see this morning and evening, and it could be both or one or the other, getting kind of out of your hands, kind of getting out of your control, where your kiddo or the light, like I can't keep my kid because it's light, right? That's just an outside influence that's affecting your routine. You are the one that can be in charge of this, and that's what these strategies are going to help you do. So getting that morning and evening morning routine. It doesn't matter if it's light or dark. It's the same routine you want to establish for right now. And again, it could be a different routine than you used to do when you used to go to school, or maybe even this spring with schools opening back up all over the country, in the US anyway, where this time change is affecting us right now. You could see yourself having to start to get your kid up and get them back to school when you didn't used to have to do that because you had a break from school for maybe even up to a year, some of you. I think the plan is to get as many of these schools getting kids back in them before the end of this school year. So you will have a change in your morning routine, whether there's a time change or not. You might have to put that time change in. That's why these strategies are going to help you regardless of the time of year. It's all about you establishing the routines that you need to get the outcomes that you want from your morning and evening time that you spend with your child, okay? And we talk about the language that goes with it for late talkers, but this is important whether your kid's a chatterbox or they're not talking at all. These same morning routines you can demonstrate for your child when you show them how to do these routines yourself and invite them to join you. It's time to brush our teeth. It's time to put our pajamas on. It's time to crawl into bed. It's time to do our mellow out before bedtime, or in the morning, it's time to wake up and go and brush our teeth, or go potty, or go and do the things that we do every day. We do these things because they make our morning and evening time successful. These are the times when we care for ourselves and you care for your kids, and you don't want any of that care to be neglected, right? You want to get the best outcomes from that morning and evening time. I know that I've been harping on and on about that, but this is the thing that you have control over. You don't have control over the time, but you have control over your family's routine. And that's kind of the big message I'm trying to hit home here. All right, let's move into the next strategy that I have for you, though. Okay, and this is a really fun one where you're going to really talk about the things that you don't have any control over. The sun coming up and down, right? So if you don't have any control over it and it's affecting your life, it's really important, especially with your late talking child, that you talk about anything that affects your life, okay? And in this case, it's that pesky old sun that's going to be coming up a lot later, because it's going to be staying up a lot later since we move our clocks back, or we move our clocks forward in the spring. So that's what's going to happen. We move our clocks forward. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to have the sunlight in the morning. The mornings are going to be lighter, right? That's what's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be lighter in the morning and lighter at night. This whole backwards time change through the fall is the opposite of this, but we're talking about morning. We're talking about spring here. Okay, so what you're going to do here is you're going to notice that the mornings are already starting to be lighter. They were starting to be lighter before the time change happened, because, like I said, every couple of minutes, the sun is changing now because of the way that spring and fall, big change time. That's why stuff grows real fast in the spring and it dies real fast in the fall, because these changes happen really quickly, right? The big transition. Okay, that's what's going on. And so after the time change, it's going to be dark in the morning again, where it used to be like starting to get lighter. Now it's going to be dark, and it's going to be feeling like a lot earlier. And it is. It's a whole hour earlier, okay? And it's going to happen for a couple of weeks, but the light will come earlier and earlier every day. It'll be lighter and lighter and lighter as you wake up, to pretty soon when the light starts to come up, depending some places in the world, before 6 a.m. If you're way north or way south, it's going to be way early. This light's going to start to come in and persist, okay? Now, you're going to talk about how the light will also change at bedtime. So it's going to be a lot lighter at bedtime and darker in the morning, because that's what's happening now. Sun's not up yet, and it's going to suddenly have a lot more light after the time change. And it's going to continue to get early and earlier and earlier too, where it used to not get dark till 8 or 9 p.m. Now it's going to start to get dark, or now it's not going to get, where it used to get dark at 6 p.m. Now it's going to get dark at 8 or 9. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to get later and later and later. The dark is coming, okay? So we know fast with the time change, the light is here, and that's how we do it. And when you move forward, you want to just remind your kids about how we're going to move forward with it. Sorry if this is all confusing. So let's move into the next strategy so that I can just help you move forward with this. And what you're going to do after you talk about the light, you are going to remind your child about how much you need, your experience. You're going to talk about your own experience coping with time change, because we all do. Like I said, it's something that affects us all. So you want to remind your child how much sleep you need and how you enjoy your sleep time. And you need your sleep time to be, happy and do what you got to do. And your child needs their sleep time because they sometimes get to be a cranky pants if they don't get their sleep. Okay. You want to explain that it's sometimes hard to sleep, even for you, when it's light outside, where even if you're exhausted and you go to lay down and take a nap, if the sun is shining bright, sometimes it's hard to fall asleep. So what you want to do is you want to start to move your bedtime earlier, to just take the time to understand it's going to still be light, because it's going to be light even up until 8:30 at night coming up soon. So you want to just be prepared for falling asleep with lighter time by taking other actions to calm yourselves, calm your bodies, get ready for sleep even when it's light outside, like you do when you take a nap in the middle of the day, okay? You dim the room, you do things like that. And then number 4 is you talk about the solutions that work for you when you want to sleep when it's light, like dark curtains or an eye mask. Like you talk about it go through this process. I know it's still light outside, but we're going to close the curtains. I know it's still light outside, but we're turning off the lights in the room, and you're going to close your eyes, and you can wear, put your blanket over your head, or, those kinds of things that help you make it feel a little darker. Give your child solutions if they're stuck on it's too light kind of thing. Talk about the solutions that you use and share those with your child. Okay, let's move into the next one. The next strategy is to show empathy and support. If your child struggles with schedule changes, a lot of kids struggle with schedule change at all. And a whole hour all at once can be a lot to cope with. So here's my advice in this category. Number 1, understand that this is a temporary situation and your family will adjust. I promise you that it happens all the time. Your family will adjust. You got to where you are right now by little adjustments. You'll get through this time change too. Number 2, keep your bedtime and wake up schedules flexible by 30 minutes over the next month or so. Plan to get up a little earlier, plan to go to bed a little later, or start your bedtime routine a little earlier or a little later. But be flexible about it. Don't freak out if your kiddo wants to stay up later. Instead of fighting with them, roll with their time schedule and start to move it a little bit earlier. Don't hardcore that we've got to do this 1 hour all at one shot, because you could get resistance, and that's not going to be helpful. If you want to get enough sleep for yourself, you definitely do want to do this so that you can support your little one as they struggle. So that means that you need to make sure you're going to bed on time, and that you're planning your schedule so that you get up with enough energy and prep that you can help your little one cope if they have trouble struggling with these changes, and you ease them into it. Like I said, flexible. And number 4 is talk about the process with your partner or any other people in your family and troubleshoot these solutions together. Because like I said, these time changes affect everybody. And if you yourself are always affected by the time change, first of all, that's a mindset, right? Remember, they happen to all of us. They've been going on as long as you've been alive. And it only worries you while you think about it. The time change's coming. We're going to have to do this thing. We lose whatever. And if you put worry instead of a plan, then you're going to struggle through the process, because that's how transition goes. Things happen in the world that cause us to change. Spring and fall happens. New stuff grows. Allergy and pollens pollute the air. And people like me who have allergies get affected at this time of year. And it's something that happens every year. And what do? I stay indoors and drink a lot of water and blow my nose and take homeopathic things that keep my ear, nose, and throat system very lubricated, because I know that I'm getting a lot of pollen and stuff in here and trying to keep that stuff clean. I know that about myself, right? When you know about yourself that changes in schedule, or you know about your child that changes in schedule are going to affect you, then it behooves you to prepare and get ready for them and create your spring ahead time change plan. So Hopefully it wasn't too confusing with all of this spring ahead, fall back. That's how you think about it, by the way. Spring ahead, so you're turning your clocks ahead 1 hour. In the US, it's happening this weekend. It's usually on a Saturday night, so you have a little flexibility for your Sunday morning. Although those of you who get up and go to church on Sunday morning could find that morning church experience, you'll have to troubleshoot and problem solve through that time to get yourself there. Okay, so I mentioned that I was going to talk a little bit about what else is going on right now. There's lots of really amazing astrology that is affecting all of us. And I just kind of wanted to point out a couple things that are going on that could be affecting you even around these same strategies. And the first one is we have a new moon in Pisces for Western astrology. This is Western astrology for those of you who like the US version. So these things that we're talking about, these things the planetary things that I'm talking about are the Western astrology. And so the sun right now is in Pisces, and we have a new moon also in Pisces. And Pisces is a water sign. Water signs trigger emotion and also intuition, right? And that's kind of what Pisces does a lot of. And we've got a new moon in a very emotional sign right now. And then there's some other planetary alignments with the planet Jupiter and the planet Neptune, right? And when these kind of Neptune gets involved in the Jupiter ends of things, Neptune is also a very watery planet, and it is in control of watery kinds of energies, okay? So watery energies are, you see me with my emotions, my mimies here. It's all very emotional and fluid and guessing and intuition and that's a good idea and I might try this kind of thing. And then the next season in Aries is where we go hard and try to figure out what's going on. So this new moon, right, is a great opportunity while we have this Neptune influence with this new moon, right? New moon, moons are watery anyway, and emotional things. The way we control our emotions is the moon kind of flavors our emotions for that period of time. And right now it's very emotional, watery, thinking about things that we love and we don't love and why we love them and don't love them and why things affect us and how we feel about these things. And we make decisions in these times based on these feelings. And then when Neptune comes in, it's like feelings with gasoline on the fire. And sometimes it can push the feelings over the edge of sort of rational thinking. Because when you get a lot of emotional thinking and emotional decisions and emotional stuff going on, it can be challenging to sort of maintain control over your life because emotional decisions are not always conscious. Sometimes they're reactive. Sometimes, so that's why I'm talking about it during this time change and why it's very important for you to realize that even if you're not usually emotionally affected by something like time change, which is happening in the physical world, this particular time change, you could be especially emotionally affected by this thing. So if you're exhausted because you've lost an hour of sleep and you're used to using hours of sleep because maybe your kid's been waking up earlier and earlier and earlier every day lately for the past few weeks, because especially if you're far, far north, you're already going to start to see changes, big changes in how much time. You used to have a lot of dark in your day, and now sunlight's flooding in, and sunlight's new energy. It can trigger all kinds of emotions, okay, when it's in this kind of moon emotional Neptune-y situation flavored by this hot sun in the emotional sign. So now is the time to really think about your emotions and kind of put your rational brain on consciously, and don't let the emotions overtake you, which is what happens sometimes when planetary energy, the emotional energy, overtakes the things like rational decision making and conscious planning and things like that. And we need these things. That's why I talked in this video about getting a plan. Because when you get a plan to work out your way through potentially challenging situations. Okay, this is really emotional. Then you know how to work through them, and you got a plan, and you feel better on the other end getting through these sort of inevitable emotional crises. So you could have an emotional time change going on right now. And even if you're not affected by time change, you could be emotionally affected by this one. So the thing is, the sun is good. The sun is spring. The sun is bringing in new energy. It's kind of burning off all that cold. The snow is melting. The mud is coming up. The pollen is growing. The flowers are starting to peek through. Get out and enjoy the spring with your kiddo. Make a decision to embrace the change. Hug your kids out with grace. Just let the change happen. Sometimes it's muddy, and then after a little while, it dries up and the mud goes away and the flowers come out. And we have to remember that stuff, because in the moment, the emotional triggers can cause us to do things we regret, right? It can be either super positive, you can hyper over emotion bomb your kiddo, or you can find yourself feeling very emotional withdrawn, like expecting other people to emotion bomb you, wanting that, needing that, especially if you're feeling alone this time. If you're a single parent, you could be feeling like, wow, now I've got another thing I've got to do all by myself with my late talking kid. I don't have anybody helping me. The answer is you do. It's videos like this, it's ideas like this that will help you take the action you need to take to, help you understand how to ride through all the external things like time change that affect your life one way or another. And you can do it on your own if you have good resources and support, right? That's how everybody goes. Let's see. Liza says, we're in Washington State. It's a big difference here after long months of rain and short days. Exactly. So Liza's whole family's already starting to feel a big difference between the winter weather and the spring weather. And, those of you who were in Texas experiencing sort of our last stitch winter, and now all of a sudden you're going to have spring on steroids. Like I said, all the gasoline, all the sun is coming more and more and more time, and all the things that are changing in the world. These are things that you can talk about and ride out and help you fill the time with, look at those flowers, or, oh, my nose is runny, or your nose is runny. Think about your child and talk about how these changes are affecting you. Ride through them, just like the strategies that I gave you for this video, and they will help you have an easy time frame transition. Okay. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Look, I want to tell you a few resources. I know that I always save it till the end, but I want to remind you again how resources are available for you across my Waves of Communication platform to learn how to teach your child to talk faster than speech therapy, using things like the time change as topics for your conversation. And so you can find it in my book. My book is called If It Isn't Fun, It Isn't Fun. Teach Your Child to Talk Faster Than Speech Therapy. It's available on Amazon and Audible for ear. You can join me also for more discussion. I'm only doing one live video a week now. So you can always join me on Thursdays at 11 a.m. here on YouTube to get more videos every week, new videos. And I have other resources where you can reach me over here on the MeWe platform. Don't forget to jump over there. If you're not on Facebook, or you are on Facebook, this is a Facebook-like with no ads way to discuss. I post stuff over there all the time, and I'm really encouraging parent discussion over on that platform where you can ask specific questions. Just look for the Parents Are the Best Language Facilitators group, or if you join me at www.mewe.com/I/Marcy Melzer, that's my name, you can just say hi to me personally, and I will send you a direct invitation to get into our language facilitation resources group. So there are resources for that. And then I also have a podcast. You can join me on my podcast and listen to me talk with other professionals. I've been on other podcasts too. I just did a podcast with a gal who's a homeschool specialist consultant, helping homeschool moms with language facilitation. I'm all over just sharing information about language facilitation because I know it can work for everybody. And like I said at the beginning, the reason it works for everybody is because all the people watching my videos are equipped and empowered to take the action yourself. You're not letting anybody else take the responsibility to teach your child to talk or to walk or to educate them and all of that other stuff. You use teachers and schools and therapies as support systems for your child, and you take main responsibility for teaching them everything they need to be successful in the world. And then you find people to teach them the things that you don't know. Like I had to find people to teach my kid math because I couldn't teach him math, but I could teach him other things. And you can too, including teaching your child to talk. So that's what I aim to share on all of my videos. And I hope that these strategies today were helpful for you. If they were, please like this video and consider sharing it with your friends on your own social media. It's my mission to help as many parents as possible. So I'm super happy to have you here today. And Liza says, I love your book. Still listening to it. Thank you again for joining me, Liza, and all of you other moms who are joining both live and on the replay, moms and dads and other language facilitators. Grandmas also watch me too. Anybody can help you facilitate language with your child if you share these kinds of videos with them. That's how easy these strategies are. And everybody will do language facilitation differently with your child. Dad talks to him different than mom talks to him, different than grandma, different than the therapist, different than everybody. With language facilitation, you want to learn how to equip and empower all of those people to help your child in the way that you help them. And you help them learn to do it in their own way, not the way you do, because the way you language facilitate with your late talking kiddo is going to be different than another mom does with hers, and is different than other people talk to your kiddo. It's all completely customizable and unique with strategies just like I talked about on this video. And if you want to learn more, you can always visit wavesofcommunication.com. So I hope this video leaves you equipped and empowered, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.